I had no intention of making this video when the news broke about this thing. People keep asking me about my opinion, so I guess I'll just make a video on it. So obviously, first off, there's still very little we even know about this tour. I've been trying to hold off on making this video because it seems like there's new facts coming out every day about the tour. But this is kind of weird because it seems like the music media are the ones who are controlling the narrative, whereas the Pantera camp is just completely silent. There's been no official statement from Rex Brown, there's no official statement from Phil Anselmo, and there's been nothing official on Pantera's Facebook page or anywhere else on social media that they control. So it's hard to know like what's actually happening and what's not. The media has been calling it a reunion, but there's been no actual word from anybody if that's actually the case, if they're actually going to be calling it a reunion. I mean, so far Zakk Wylde said it's just supposed to be a celebration. And then Rita Haney herself, she said that calling it a reunion was downright disrespectful and that it's like a tribute or whatever. So yeah, I agree with their sentiments. And obviously without Vinny and Dime, there's just no way it can truly be a reunion. The core of Pantera was definitely Vinny and Dime. I mean, they were the ones driving the groove and the riff behind that band. And going under the Pantera name is super questionable at best. And again, I don't know if that's actually their intent, because I've yet to see an official statement from Rex, Phil, or the official Pantera social media, so yeah. I mean, I really like the idea of a tribute though. I mean, the songs are too legendary to not be played by anybody. It only makes sense to get, you know, Phil and Rex up on stage with a couple other competent musicians, and I think a lot of people would want to see that, especially considering Phil's been doing his thing with the Illegals for the past however long, and people have been paying to see that, and people want to see that. I think this is ultimately a good thing. It'll be interesting to see how Zakk Wylde performs when he's actually like really motivated to learn and lead. And a couple other people have brought this up too, but Zakk is super duper good at playing Randy Rhoads. I think that's because he's had the motivation and the time to sit down and say, hey, I'm gonna learn these Randy Rhoads leads because I'm playing with Ozzy and I need to learn them for this tour. If he applies that same sort of motivation and logic to this Pantera tour or the Pantera reunion tour, I think he'll do a pretty good job. And I've seen his attempts before in the past where they've done like a one-off with Phil or whatever, and there's definitely room for improvement. But you know, I think if he's got the motivation there, he'll probably do a good job. I do think if he can pull it off, he'll without a doubt be the best person for the job, because there's just nobody who's in like that same guitar league that was as close to Dimebag as Zakk Wylde was. And I know comparing Randy and Dime is not like an apples to apples comparison, but it might give you an idea of how motivated Zakk will be to learn the leads on this. A lot of people have asked who I would like to see up there, and Attila Boros. I mean, come on. Attila's really strived to get all of Dime's nuances, his legato, his playing, his tone, everything. He has strived to get all that stuff down. And he's actually gigged all those songs live. So he's got the experience necessary for it. So if it were up to me, Attila would be the obvious choice. A lot of people have suggested that maybe I should be the guitarist that gets picked to play with Phil and Rex. And I'm really flattered. Don't get me wrong, I'm super flattered by that, but there's just no way I can do that, because in my mind, that's filling Dimebag's shoes, and there's just no way I could do that. I want to be in the crowd too, watching this. I don't want to be on stage. I mean, nobody can fill Dime's shoes if you ask me, but I especially don't feel qualified to do that. As for whether or not I'm going to see them, I haven't really decided yet. I mean, there's just so much we don't even know about this tour or anything. There's just so much we haven't heard from anybody in that camp. But yeah, until we get some clarification on everything, I'll be down for a solid maybe.